They called me vindictive. My own parents. Sitting in a courtroom, staring at the back of my head like I was the criminal. All because I reported what my sister did to me. The judge sat there, quiet,
Calm.
just listening to them defend her. And then he asked one question. Just one. My parents couldn't answer. The whole courtroom went silent. That's when I knew everything was about to change. Before I tell you what that question was, I need to ask you something. Have you ever been blamed for standing up for yourself? Drop a comment and let me know. And if this story sounds familiar to you in any way, hit that like button. Trust me, you'll want to hear what happens next. My name is Maya. I'm 26 years old. 3 weeks ago, I watched my mom cry in court. Not because she felt bad for me, but because a judge asked her something she couldn't answer. Let me take you back to where this all started. I live in Austin, Texas. Always have. I work at a small accounting office downtown. Nothing fancy. I answer phones, organize files, help with numbers. I've been saving money since I was 22. Every single paycheck, I put something away.
Why?
Because I wanted my own place. Not an apartment I rented. A real place. Something that was mine. For years of saving. For years of saying no to trips, concerts, eating out with friends. I had $12,000 saved. My credit score was 795. The bank already said yes. I was about to buy my first condo. Then my phone buzzed one morning while I was brushing my teeth. Credit alert. Your score has dropped. I almost ignored it. My score never moved. I paid everything on time. But something made me click it. The number that came up made me drop my toothbrush in the sink. 438. That's not possible. 3 months ago, I was at 795. You don't drop that far from a missed payment. You don't drop that far from anything normal. My hands were shaking when I pulled up the full report. 5 credit cards I'd never opened. 1 car loan I'd never signed for. All in my name. Total debt. $52,000. I sat on the edge of my bathtub because my legs just stopped working. Target credit card. Best Buy.
Chase.
Discover. Capital One. Names I knew. Accounts I'd never seen. The oldest one had been open for 14 months. 14 months. Over a year. And I had no idea. I called the first number I found. This has to be a mistake, I said. My voice didn't sound like me. I've never opened a Target card. The woman on the phone was quiet for too long. Ma'am, we show 5 accounts under your social security number. Would you like me to read the billing addresses? Yes. She read it out loud. My parents' address. 4725 Meadow Lane, Austin, Texas. The room started spinning. Ma'am, are you still there? I was there. But the person I was 5 minutes ago? The one who trusted her family? She was gone. I need to tell you about my sister. Her name is Jenna. She's 29. 3 years older than me. Growing up, Jenna was the one who needed help. With everything. Mom and Dad paid for her college, her apartment, her car insurance until she was 27.
Me?
I paid my own way. Scholarships. Part-time jobs at coffee shops. I ate ramen 4 nights a week to make it work. I never complained. What was the point? You're so independent, Maya, Dad would say. Like it was a compliment. Like I chose to do everything alone. I didn't choose it. I just learned early that asking for help meant taking from Jenna.
So I stopped asking.
But here's the thing I didn't know back then. My independence made me the perfect target. Because no one was watching. No one was checking on me. And Jenna noticed. 2 years ago, Jenna and I lived together for 8 months. She needed a roommate. I needed cheaper rent. It made sense at the time. We shared a 2-bedroom place in South Austin. Small, but clean. And because she was my sister, I didn't hide anything. Mail came to the apartment. Bank statements. Tax documents. She saw all of it. One night, she asked me something while I was doing paperwork on the couch. Hey, what's your social security number? I'm updating my phone plan. Want to add you as an emergency contact. I didn't even look up. Just said the 9 digits out loud. She typed it into her phone. Smiled. Thanks, sis. I thought nothing of it. There were other times too. What's Mom's maiden name again? I always forget. Anderson, I said. What was our old address? The one on Riverside Drive. I told her. No hesitation. When's your birthday again? I want to send you something. She knew my birthday. She'd been to 24 of them. But I answered anyway. April 12th. Every question felt normal. Innocent. I didn't know she was collecting pieces of me. One question at a time. Building a key to my entire life. Fast forward to 3 weeks ago. I'm staring at this credit report. $52,000 in debt I didn't create. I started going through the transactions online. Target. Sephora. A weekend trip to Houston. Plane tickets to Las Vegas. Someone had been living really well. On my name. And every single charge traced back to one place. My parents' house. I pulled up Jenna's Instagram. Scrolled back through her posts. March 18th. A photo of her holding shopping bags. Treated myself today. Red Heart shopping bags. The credit card statement showed a $640 charge at Nordstrom on March 17th. June 22nd. A photo from a resort in San Antonio. Living my best life. Tropical drink sun. The car loan payment showed a charge at that same resort the same weekend. She didn't even hide it. Why would she? She didn't think I'd ever find out. Then I saw the one that broke me. April 12th. My birthday. A $1,800 charge at a jewelry store in downtown Austin. The next day, Jenna posted a photo of herself wearing a new bracelet. Sometimes you just have to treat yourself. Gemstone sparkles. She bought herself jewelry. On my birthday. With a credit card in my name. I sat in my car in my apartment parking lot for an hour. Engine off. Windows up. It was hot. I was sweating. But I couldn't move. Part of me wanted to be wrong. Part of me wanted there to be some explanation I hadn't thought of. The other part looked at that bracelet and felt something I'd never felt toward my sister.
Hate.
I had two choices.
Pretend I didn't see it. Pay off the debt myself. Keep the peace.
Or make the call that would destroy my family. I drove to my parents' house. Jenna's car was in the driveway. I didn't knock. I used my key. She was on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when I walked in. Surprised but not worried. Maya? What are you doing here? I didn't sit down. Did you open credit cards in my name? Her face changed.
Fast.
First confusion. Then recognition. Then that fake, innocent look. What?
No.
Why would I do that? The billing address is this house. The charges match your Instagram posts. She blinked. Put her phone down. Stood up. Okay. Fine. Her voice got harder. But I was going to pay it back. $52,000. You don't understand how hard things have been for me. You bought a bracelet on my birthday. You have a stable job. I have nothing. I stared at her. This person I grew up with. Shared a room with. Trusted completely. I didn't offer to help, I said slowly, because you didn't ask. You just took. It's not stealing if it's family. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. Mom's voice.
Sharp.
Worried. What's going on? Jenna, why are you yelling? And just like that, the real fight started. Mom came into the room, wearing her gardening gloves. Dad followed a few steps behind. What's all this noise about? Jenna was already crying. I don't know when it happened. But suddenly, she had tears running down her face. Maya's accusing me of stealing. I'm not accusing. I'm stating facts. Mom turned to me. Her face was already hard. Maya, what is going on? I explained everything. The credit cards. The $52,000. The transactions that matched Jenna's life perfectly. Mom listened. Then she looked at Jenna. Jenna, is this true? A nod.
A sob.
I waited for the anger. The shock. The how could you? Instead, Mom turned back to me. Can't you just help her fix this quietly? The words hit me like a slap.
Mom.
She stole my identity. She didn't steal. She borrowed. For 14 months. Without asking. She's your sister. She ruined my credit. I lost my condo. Credit can be fixed, Maya. There will be other condos. I looked at Dad. He was standing in the corner, arms crossed, staring at the wall. Dad. He flinched.
Didn't look at me.
Your mother's right. We should handle this as a family. Jenna was still crying on the couch. Mom sat next to her, rubbed her back, and I stood there alone, watching my parents comfort the person who destroyed my future. I tried one more time.
Fine, I said.
You don't want me to call the police? Then help me fix it. Mom looked up.
How?
A payment plan. You, Dad, and Jenna sign something official. We get it notarized. Jenna pays me back over time. I don't press charges. It was more than fair. We don't have that kind of money, Mom said. I'm not asking for it all at once.
Just a plan.
Accountability. Jenna's tears had stopped. She was watching me now. Cold eyes. I can't sign anything legal, she said. What if I can't make the payments? You'd sue me? You already owe me $52,000. Silence. Dad shifted his weight. Mom's hands stopped moving on Jenna's back. So, your solution, I said slowly, is that I just pay for Jenna's crimes myself? Mom sighed, like I was being dramatic. You'll figure it out, Maya. You always do. Those words. You'll figure it out. You always do. The same thing they'd been telling me my whole life. The reason I learned to do everything alone. I looked at my mother, at my father, who still wouldn't meet my eyes, at my sister, who was already back on her phone.
You're right, I said.
I will figure out. I picked up my keys. Just not the way you want me to. I walked out. Didn't look back. The next day, I called a lawyer. His name was Robertson. He worked 2 floors up from my office. I told him everything. He listened. Didn't interrupt. When I finished, he put down his coffee. Maya, this isn't a family issue. This is a federal crime. I know. She could go to prison. My stomach dropped. For how long? Identity theft? Up to 15 years maximum. Realistically, first offense, probably probation and restitution. He leaned forward. People who steal from family count on one thing. That family won't report them. The second you file that police report, you take that power away. I stared at the business card he slid across the table. Austin Police Department. Financial Crimes Unit. You don't have to prove anything yourself, he said. The evidence is already there. Credit reports. IP addresses. Transaction history. They'll handle the rest. I saved the number in my phone.
Didn't call it that day.
But I didn't delete it either. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept scrolling through old text messages with Jenna. Years of conversations. Memes. Random updates. Then I started noticing patterns. 2 years ago, right after we stopped living together. Jenna. Hey, what's your old address? The one on Riverside? I need it for a background check. I'd sent it without question. 1.5 years ago. Jenna. Do you remember Mom's maiden name? I forgot, and I need it for some bank thing. Me, Anderson.
Why?
Jenna. Just updating some info. Thanks, sis Redheart. 1 year ago. Jenna. When's your birthday again?
Want to send you something.
She knew my birthday, but I typed it out anyway. Me. April 12th. Birthday cake. Then 14 months ago. 1 week before the first credit card was opened. Jenna. Hey, can you send me your social? Want to add you to my phone plan as a backup. Me. 9 digits, there you go. Thanks for adding me, Redheart. I stared at that message for 20 minutes. I gave her my social security number. Sent it in a text. Because she asked nicely. Because I trusted her. She'd been collecting pieces of me for years. 1 question at a time. Waiting for the moment she needed them. I picked up my phone. Called the number Robert gave me. Austin Police Department, Financial Crimes. How can I help you? I need to report identity theft. The detective's name was Lisa Monroe. Mid-40s. Short hair. Tired eyes. She listened to everything. Didn't rush me. When I finished, she nodded. This is clear-cut, Miss Harper. We'll open an investigation. How long will it take? A few weeks to gather evidence. We'll subpoena records. Trace IP addresses. Verify signatures. She looked at me. Are you prepared for what happens next? What do you mean? Your sister will be arrested. Charged. This will go to court. A pause. Family cases are hard. People change their minds halfway through. I won't. I hope not. She handed me a card. Call me if anything happens. And Miss Harper. Yeah, you did the right thing. That night I called my parents. I filed a police report today, I said. Against Jenna. Silence for 3 seconds. Then Mom exploded. You did what? I had no choice. You're sending your sister to prison. I'm reporting a crime. She's family, Maya. She stole $52,000 from me. We raised you better than this. You raised me to be taken advantage of. Mom's voice went cold. If you don't drop those charges, you are no longer welcome in this family. The line went dead. I sat in my car and cried for the first time in 3 years. 3 days later, I got a text from Dad. Family meeting. Sunday, 2 p.m. Please come. I almost didn't go, but part of me thought maybe they'd changed their minds. Maybe they realized how wrong they were. I was wrong. When I walked into that living room, it wasn't just Mom, Dad, and Jenna waiting. There were 11 other people there. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins. It was a trap. And what happened next? I never saw it coming. 3 days after I filed the police report, Dad texted me. Dad, family meeting Sunday, 2 p.m. Please come. I stared at that message for an hour. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but there was this small, stupid part of me that thought, maybe they'd realized how wrong they were. Maybe they wanted to apologize. Maybe they were finally going to stand up for me. I was so wrong. Sunday came. I drove to my parents' house. The driveway was full of cars. That should have been my first clue. I walked up to the door. Used my key. The living room was packed. Mom, Dad, Jenna, and sitting on every available chair and couch, my entire extended family. Aunt Rachel, Uncle Tom, Grandma Susan in her wheelchair, Grandpa Joe, my cousins Emily and Marcus, even my mom's sister Karen, who I hadn't seen in 2 years. 11 people, all staring at me. This wasn't a family meeting. This was an ambush. Sit down, Maya, Mom said. Her voice was ice. I stayed standing. Mom stood up from her spot next to Jenna. Maya needs to explain to everyone why she's trying to destroy this family. My heart started pounding. Aunt Rachel spoke first. Her voice was soft. Disappointed. Jenna made a mistake, honey. We all make mistakes. Uncle Tom nodded. You're going to ruin her life over money? Money can be replaced. Grandma Susan shook her head. In my day, families handled things privately. This is shameful. One by one, they went around the room, telling me I was wrong, telling me I was cruel, telling me to drop the charges. Jenna sat in the armchair by the window, crying. Mom's hand on her shoulder. The victim. The one who needed protection. Look at her, Mom said, gesturing to Jenna. Look at what you're doing to your sister. I did look. I saw a 29-year-old woman who had spent 14 months stealing from me without a second thought, who bought jewelry and went on trips and lived her best life while I worked 50-hour weeks. I'm not destroying this family, I said quietly. Jenna did that 14 months ago when she decided my identity was hers to use. No one responded. Then Dad spoke. He'd been silent in the corner this whole time, arms crossed, staring at the floor. Maya. His voice cracked. Can't you just drop this? For me? For him. Not for what was right. Not for justice. For him. So, he wouldn't have to deal with the discomfort of having one daughter who committed a crime and another daughter who refused to be a victim. I looked at him. Really looked at him. He seemed smaller than I remembered. Older. Broken. No, Dad. I can't. Mom stood up. Then we have nothing more to say to each other. The room went quiet. If you walk out that door without dropping those charges, Maya, don't come back. 11 pairs of eyes on me. Waiting. I picked up my purse, walked to the door. Then I turned around. I've spent my whole life being the daughter who didn't need anything. The one who figured things out alone. The one who never asked for help because I knew it wouldn't come. My voice was steady, calmer than I felt. But I will not accept paying for a crime I didn't commit just because the criminal shares my last name. I opened the door. Behind me, I heard Mom start crying. Not the gentle sniffling she'd done for Jenna. This was ugly.
Loud.
The sound of someone losing control. I kept walking. I didn't know that would be the last time I'd see them before the courtroom. 3 weeks of silence. No calls. No texts. Jenna blocked me on everything. Instagram, Facebook, even LinkedIn. I went to work.
Came home.
Checked my credit report every day. Waited. Then Detective Monroe called. Miss Harper, we have enough to proceed. The DA is pressing charges. I sat down on my kitchen floor. What charges? Identity theft. Credit card fraud. Mail fraud. She was redirecting some of your statements to your parents' address. A pause. She's looking at 5 to 15 years if convicted. 15 years, I repeated. That's the maximum. Realistically, with no prior record, she'll probably get a plea deal. Probation. Restitution. Maybe some community service. Another pause. But there's something else you should know.
What?
During our investigation, we found another victim. A former roommate of your sister's from about 5 years ago. Same pattern. Credit cards. Small loans. She never pressed charges. The floor tilted. I'm not the first.
No.
You're just the first one who didn't stay quiet. I closed my eyes. All those years, thinking I was special. The trusted sister. The one Jenna would never hurt. I wasn't special. I was just next. There's an arraignment scheduled for next Monday, Detective Monroe said. You'll receive a summons as a material witness. Do I have to speak? Not at the arraignment. That's just the formal reading of charges. But you do have to be there. I thanked her, hung up, stared at my phone. In 1 week, I would sit in a courtroom and watch my sister answer for what she did. The Travis County Courthouse was all gray concrete and fluorescent lights. I wore my most professional outfit. Black pants, white blouse, hair pulled back, armor. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Wood paneling, hard benches, the seal of Texas behind the judge's chair. A handful of people waiting for other cases. I sat in the 3rd row. My hands were shaking. I clasped them together to make it stop. Jenna was already there, at the defendant's table. She looked different. No makeup, hair flat, wearing a gray sweater instead of her usual designer clothes. Her lawyer was next to her, a thin man with gray hair.
She didn't look at me.
Then the doors opened behind me. I turned. It was my parents. Mom in her church dress. Dad in the suit he wore to weddings and funerals. They walked down the center aisle. For 1 second, one stupid, hopeful second, I thought they were coming to sit with me. They walked right past my row. Sat directly behind Jenna. Mom reached forward. Squeezed Jenna's shoulder. Dad nodded at her lawyer. Then Mom turned her head. Our eyes met. Her face was stone. Cold. All rise. The bailiff's voice cut through the room. The Honorable Judge Marcus Freeman presiding. The judge entered. A black man in his late 50s. Glasses. Moving with the calm of someone who'd seen 1,000 cases. But he hadn't seen this one yet. He didn't know what my parents were about to do. The arraignment started like any other. Charges were read. Jenna Marie Harper, you're charged with identity theft, credit card fraud, and mail fraud. Jenna's voice was small, shaking. Not guilty, Your Honor. Bail was discussed. Set at $10,000. Then Jenna's lawyer stood. Your Honor, we have 2 character witnesses who would like to speak on behalf of the defendant. Her parents, David and Carol Harper. The judge glanced at the prosecutor. Any objection? No, Your Honor. Very well. Mrs. Harper, please take the stand. Mom walked to the witness box, placed her hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth. Then she looked directly at me. My daughter Jenna made a mistake, Mom began. She's not a criminal. She's a good girl who got in over her head. The prosecutor didn't interrupt. This was an arraignment. Character statements were allowed. But then Mom kept going. And Maya. Her voice got harder. Maya has always been jealous of her sister. My breath stopped. She's vindictive. She holds grudges. She's using this situation to destroy our family over money. Mom's voice cracked. Jenna doesn't deserve to have her life ruined because her sister is bitter and resentful. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Then Dad took the stand. Jenna was going to pay it back, he said. She told us so. Maya never gave her a chance. She went straight to the police without even talking to us. That was a lie. I had talked to them, begged them for help. But I couldn't speak. Witnesses don't get to interrupt. I sat there, my parents' words hanging in the air like poison, and felt every eye in the courtroom turn toward me. The vindictive daughter. The family destroyer. The villain. Judge Freeman had been silent the whole time. He hadn't interrupted. Hadn't raised an eyebrow. Now, as Dad stepped down, the judge adjusted his glasses, looked at the papers in front of him.
Took his time.
The courtroom was so quiet I could hear the air conditioning hum. Mr. and Mrs. Harper, he said finally, please remain standing. My parents looked at each other.
Confused.
Dad's hand found Mom's. I've heard your testimony, Judge Freeman said.
His voice was calm.
Almost conversational. You believe your daughter Jenna made a mistake and deserves leniency. You believe your daughter Maya is acting out of vindictiveness rather than legitimate harm. Mom nodded eagerly. Yes, Your Honor. Exactly. I wasn't finished. Mom's mouth closed. The judge looked down at the file again. I could see the credit reports in there. The transaction records. Everything Detective Monroe had gathered. I see here that 5 credit cards were opened fraudulently. 1 car loan. Total debt of approximately $52,000. He looked up. All in your daughter Maya's name. All traced to your home address. Jenna was going through a hard time. Mom started. I didn't ask a question, Mrs. Harper. Silence. The judge set down the file, removed his glasses, folded his hands. I have one question for both of you. The courtroom seemed to shrink. Everyone was watching. The lawyers, the bailiff, the court reporter, the strangers waiting for other cases. Judge Freeman looked directly at my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Harper, if you believe your daughter Maya is being vindictive for reporting this crime, if you believe she should have handled this privately within the family. A pause. At any point in the last 4 weeks, did either of you offer to pay off the $52,000 debt that your daughter Jenna created in Maya's name? The question hung in the air. Mom opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Dad stared at the floor. 5 seconds passed. 10. 15. Judge Freeman waited. Mom started.
Stopped.
Her hands were shaking. We don't have that kind of money. I didn't ask if you had the money. I asked if you offered. Silence. Did you offer a payment plan? Did you offer to co-sign a loan? Did you offer anything at all to help your daughter Maya? The one whose credit was destroyed? Whose future was stolen? Nothing. Did you even ask how she was doing? Mom's face crumpled. The polished mask shattered. Real tears now. Not the performative kind she'd been crying for Jenna. These were ugly.
Raw.
Dad still wouldn't look up. Your silence is noted, Judge Freeman said quietly. He put his glasses back on. You've asked this court to show mercy to the daughter who committed fraud. But I see no evidence, none, that either of you showed mercy to the daughter who became her victim. I sat in that courtroom, surrounded by strangers, and felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Validation. Someone finally saw the truth. Mom was sobbing now. Not gentle tears. This was loud. Broken. The sound of someone whose mask had been ripped away in public. I just wanted to keep my family together, she choked out. Judge Freeman's expression didn't change. Mrs. Harper. A family is not held together by one member sacrificing themselves for another's crimes. It is held together by accountability, honesty, and equal treatment. He turned to Jenna. My sister hadn't moved since the question was asked. She sat frozen at the defendant's table, staring straight ahead. Miss Jenna Harper, you've entered a plea of not guilty. However, the evidence presented to this court is substantial. Credit card applications traced to your residence. Transaction records matching your social media activity. Text messages requesting sensitive personal information from the victim.
Jenna's lawyer started to speak.
The judge held up a hand. I am setting this case for trial. Miss Harper will remain free on bail with the following conditions: no contact with the victim, mandatory check-ins with a probation officer, and surrender of passport. He looked at Jenna directly. Miss Harper, I strongly suggest you consult with your attorney about the benefits of a plea agreement. The evidence against you is compelling. The gavel came down. This court will reconvene in 6 weeks. As the bailiff called the next case, Jenna turned around. She looked at me. Not with shame, not with regret, with pure hatred. And I realized something. My sister wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she got caught. 6 weeks later, Jenna took the plea deal. I wasn't there for the sentencing. My lawyer said I didn't need to be. But Detective Monroe called me after with the details. She pleaded guilty to identity theft and credit card fraud. Mail fraud was dropped as part of the deal. What's her sentence? 3 years suspended, 5 years probation, 150 hours of community service. A pause. And full restitution to you. $52,000 plus interest. Monthly payments until it's paid off. I did the math. At Jenna's income, that would take at least 8 years. What else? No contact order. She can't approach you, call you, email you, or contact you through anyone else. If she violates probation, misses a payment, fails a check-in, anything, she goes to prison to serve the full 3 years. And her record? Felony conviction. It'll show up on every background check for the rest of her life. I sat on my couch, phone pressed to my ear.
Trying to feel something.
Victory, maybe. Relief. Justice. What I felt was exhaustion. Miss Harper? You still there?
Yeah.
I'm here. You did the right thing. I know it doesn't feel like it, but you did. 3 days after the sentencing, Dad called. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Maya. His voice was tired, older than I remembered. Can we talk? Just the two of us. Without your mother. We met at a coffee shop halfway between our places. Neutral territory. He looked smaller in person. Deflated. I'm not here to apologize for your mother, he said, staring at his coffee. She's not ready for that. Maybe she never will be. Then why are you here? He finally looked at me. Because I should have said something. At the house. At the court. He swallowed. I knew it was wrong. What Jenna did. What we were asking you to accept. I didn't know how to fix it.
You didn't have to fix it, Dad.
You just had to stand next to me. Silence. I know, his voice cracked. I know that now. We sat there for an hour. He didn't fully apologize. Not the way I needed. But he acknowledged what happened. Admitted he failed me. It wasn't enough. But it was something. Before I left, I set my boundaries. I won't be at any family events where Jenna is. You can call me, but we're not discussing her. And Mom can reach out when she's ready to have a real conversation. Not one where she defends Jenna or blames me. Maya, those are my terms, Dad. Take them or leave them. He nodded slowly. Okay, I can do that. I drove home alone. One relationship may be salvageable. One uncertain. One dead. That would have to be enough. 6 months after the trial, I got my first restitution check. $385. A tiny fraction of what Jenna owed. But it was something. Proof that consequences existed. That actions had weight. I deposited it into my savings. My credit score had climbed from 438 to 602. Still not great, but improving. Every month, the fraudulent accounts were being removed one by one. Every month, I was getting a piece of myself back. At work, something unexpected happened. My boss called me into her office. I thought I was in trouble. Instead, she offered me a promotion. I heard about what you went through, she said. Not the details. Just the broad strokes. Takes a lot of integrity to pursue something like that when family's involved. It wasn't about integrity. It was about survival. That's the same thing, Maya. I got a raise. A new title. A real office with a window.
Small.
But mine. The condo with the balcony was long gone. But I found another one. Smaller. Different neighborhood. Closing in 6 months. The down payment was almost there. I still lived in my apartment. Still tracked every dollar. But it felt different now. Less like survival. More like building. I started therapy. Every other week. Joined a support group for identity theft victims once a month. Turns out there are a lot of us. Turns out family members are the most common perpetrators. I wasn't alone. I'd never been alone. I just hadn't known where to look. One night, I was making dinner in my kitchen. Just me. Just pasta. And I realized I was humming. I couldn't remember the last time I'd done that. Healing isn't a straight line. But I was walking it. People ask me if I regret it. Pressing charges. Losing my family. Watching my mom cry in court. The honest answer? Sometimes. Some nights I still reach for my phone to text Jenna something stupid. A meme. A memory. Then I remember. And the absence hits all over again. I miss the sister I thought I had. I miss Sunday dinners where I felt like I belonged. I miss the fantasy of a family that put me first. Even though that fantasy was never real. But I don't regret choosing myself. For 26 years, I was the easy one. The one who didn't need anything. The one who handled everything so everyone else could fall apart. That Maya is gone. The Maya I am now has boundaries.
Clear.
Non-negotiable. I don't share personal information without a reason. I don't accept guilt trips as arguments. I don't sacrifice my well-being so other people can avoid discomfort. And I don't confuse love with tolerance for mistreatment. My mother said I destroyed our family. Maybe she's right. But here's what I learned. If a family only stays together when one person agrees to be destroyed, then it was never really a family.
It was a system.
And I was the one holding it up. The moment I stopped carrying it, the whole thing fell. But that's not my fault. That's just how broken things work. They collapse. So if you're reading this, and you've ever had to choose between keeping the peace and keeping your self-respect, I want you to know something. You're allowed to choose yourself. You're allowed to stop being the easy one. You're allowed to say no. Even to family. Especially to family. And if they call you vindictive for it, that's just another word for strong. Before I finish, I want to tell you something my therapist said. She asked me once why I thought Jenna did what she did. I said she was selfish.
Greedy.
A bad person. My therapist shook her head. Your sister isn't evil, Maya. She's broken in a specific way. Here's what I've come to understand. Jenna was the golden child who never learned to stand on her own. Our parents protected her so much that she never developed coping skills. When life got hard, she didn't know how to handle it. So she turned to shopping. To denial.
To me.
She used my identity because she didn't have one of her own. That doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make it forgivable. But it makes it understandable. And me? I was the invisible child. The one who learned early that my needs didn't matter. That asking for help was pointless. That independence was the price of survival. I gave Jenna my social security number because I never learned I had the right to say no. Even to family. Especially to family. So here's what I want you to take from my story. First, trust is earned. Not automatic. Blood doesn't equal safety. Second, people who call you dramatic for setting boundaries are usually the ones who benefit from you having none. Third, protecting yourself isn't betrayal. It's survival. You are allowed to refuse to be used.
You are allowed to say no.
You are allowed to walk away from people who only see you as a resource. Even if those people raised you. Even if those people share your blood. Even if those people call it love. That's my story. I'm 26 years old. I live in Austin, Texas. I work at an accounting firm. I'm saving for a condo. And I'm learning, slowly, that being the easy child isn't a virtue. It's a survival strategy. and I don't need it anymore. My credit score is 602 and climbing. My sister is on probation. My parents and I talk once a month. Sometimes. My mother still hasn't apologized. And I'm okay with that. Because I chose myself. And I'd do it again.
The end.
If any part of this story resonated with you, if you've ever felt invisible in your own family, if you've ever had to make an impossible choice between peace and self-respect, I see you. Drop a comment. Tell me your story. Have you ever been in a situation where your family chose the wrong side? And remember, you are allowed to stop being the easy one. You deserve better. Take care of yourself. You've earned it.